You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
If any of you judgmental pricks out there
Yeah.
are angry with me for being a little bit tipsy during the podcasting, let me just underline,
I don't think so.
I've earned it.
Well, you know what?
What?
Your tipsiness has pushed on to me because I played the same commercial twice this episode.
As in other realms, sir, I am contagious.
Yeah.
I am like a canker sore.
All right, let's go ahead and attempt.
So, you can talk over me all you want, sir, but it's not going to help. Go ahead.
Obviously. It's called Severed Force of the Dead. It was released in 2005. It's obviously a straight-to-video. Not a straight-to-streaming, because there was no streaming in 2005. Or if there was, it was in the beginning and early stages.
That is an innovation, sir.
Yes, it is. But this is part of the home game, which is where someone, Scott or I, challenge each other to a film that is Netflix streaming so that you, the audience member, could then watch it as well. And when you listen to the podcast, you have already seen it, and you have a good idea of what we're talking about when we review it.
Now, can I underline why I suggested this to you? The origins of this?
Go right ahead.
The origins of this.
Go ahead, slur baby.
Slur baby, slur. I first watched this film back.
You know
what?
You motherfucker! I challenge this movie to you.
Hey!
Look at me! Look at
me!
Look at me!
No,
I'm sorry.
I first saw this film back when it came out on video.
Okay.
What's the release date? 2000 or something?
2005.
2005. Thank you. And that's like 6 years ago, isn't it?
That's got 2 zeros in it.
That's 6 years ago, isn't it? That's a long time ago.
That's 6 whole years ago.
My whole life was completely different 6 years ago. Anyway,
as most people's. Most people's.
No, a lot of people.
Most people's.
Most people's were the exact same position.
I've had water tonight,
so there's no excuse for you.
None. Zero. Go ahead.
Anyway, I first rented this film because I thought, I'm going to start getting back into the low budget films. Because back in the old days, we go to the video store and you'd have the rack of videos, not DVDs, videos, motherfucker.
Videos, that's right.
And the best stuff was direct to video because it was stuff that was unrated, and it wasn't for a mass audience. It was for the gore fest splatter punk fiends like myself.
Yep.
You'd rent like Violent Shit Volume 2 or Necromantic, and you'd say, "Here's something I want to watch," and then you'd be wrong. And you'd be scarred for life, but that's what you'd go for. So I thought, at that point in my life, in 2005, I thought, you know what, I'm going to get back into the direct-to-video stuff because that's where the good stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
And
I tend to agree with that.
And Severed proved me so fucking wrong.
Not in every case, though. But
what?
At that moment, the low-budget stuff isn't always bad.
But as far as Severed goes...
Oh, as far as Severed goes, well, that's what
I was so...
See, if you were a little less drunk, you would have... Never mind.
No, I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk, sir.
Well, when you listen back to this episode...
I'm a little...
You will know that I did not say Severed was good. I was basically saying that...
The genre as a whole.
Not every case where a low-budget horror film, not every case... is that it's a bad movie.
I get you, sir. What it was a vehicle.
Now you do.
No, I got it before. What I was saying was a vehicle to move the conversation on in the direction I wanted to go in. But you botched that to mock my drunkenness.
And
I was right. Anyway, continue. Continue, sir.
Continue. That was my point. You were saying that you were proved very wrong about this film being low budget, and you wanted to get back into the low budget horror films because that's what you want to see. And then I just simply said, but that's not every case.
No, you said that.
And then
wasn't.
And you said what?
You said that wasn't the case.
No, I said no. Listen back.
No, I will.
Listen back, sulfate.
And I will be proven sulfate. Wow, throwing the
sulfite. I meant sulfite.
Sulfite. You're throwing the big words out there.
Yes, wine contains sulfites.
If you add them properly.
Carefully. Anyway.
I've been drinking pure sulfites, actually.
Oh, sweet.
Anyway. So go ahead and introduce this film, sir, and tell us what...
Okay. This film is... I think you challenged it to me because it kind of reminded you of when I challenged you to Birdemic with the whole environmental thing. Was that a small part of why you challenged this to me?
Not in the least.
Okay.
The main reason I challenged you to...
So it's just a coincidence?
The main reason I challenged you to, because I wanted to challenge you to A Severed Arm, but they pulled it off Netflix the week I wanted to... But then while I was searching for A Severed Arm, I was like, wait, Severed, I saw that. That was a piece of shit too. Let me challenge you.
That's right. You did mention that in the last episode.
Yeah, so no, it was a pure coincidence that this is like a direct link to Birdemic.
Okay. So, the plot goes like this. You have loggers and you have scientists. They both work in the forest together. The loggers cut up the trees, the scientists inject the trees. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
It's like, yeah, chemists, scientists, whatever you want to call them. They inject the trees with this serum that helps them grow, I think they said 3 to 4 times faster. That way, when they cut them down, they can inject new trees, and they grow much faster, so then they can be cut down. That way, they can replenish the forest, cut as much wood as they want. The problem is, they find out that this serum they come back with some lab tests that show that it's a little off the chart as far as, I guess, its stability levels. So what happens is the one tree hugger girl, who is the epitome of a woman that I would never date. She must be horrible to date. Are you still there?
I'm listening, sir.
Okay.
I am so enraptured by your description. I'm stunned in silence. Please continue.
Okay. What happens is a logger cuts down a tree. A logger. He drops a log.
I'll take a logger, sir.
Okay. I'd like a logger.
I would like a logger, too.
He cuts down a tree, proceeds to cut into the tree to chop it up into chunks so that it can be moved to, I guess, your Home Depots and your Lowe's.
Because that's what you do when you're logging. You cut trees, right?
You cut trees down.
We can skip that part.
Well, the part... I'm just giving you a quick synopsis.
Quick?
Yeah, you like that? I'm going frame for frame, baby.
That's not quick. Frame for frame is not quick.
Anyway, what happens is he cuts into this log. There is a spike in it, which the tree huggers put in the trees.
They spike the tree.
Right. And it kicks back, cuts him into the shoulder, and he immediately becomes the host. Starts to infect the entire, I guess, the entire field, so to say. And thus begins the zombie infection of that whole area. The owner sends his son in because he wants him to take over the company one day.
Now here's the brilliant part. The rich millionaire son owner,
yes,
sends his troubled son in. Says, "Listen, I want you to take care of this, son. This is your test. I want you to fix this for me."
That's right.
Knowing the bizarre nature of the illness and what's happening, he sends his son in, his only son.
Right.
That's set up for later.
Yes, it is.
Okay, after you, sir.
So the son goes in. He sees this person that's zombified come at him, and he gets saved by some other dude, and he takes him back to this local area where they're all hiding out.
May I cut him for 1 second?
Sure.
When he first comes across this, there's a setup in the opening credits where you see this bandsaw where they cut the logs.
Yes, and like this bloody, gooey ooze stuff is coming out.
But no, but that's when they cut it. I'm talking about the bandsaw at the mill where they cut the logs.
Yes.
Down. So he goes to the mill and he comes across one of these zombie type creatures, right?
Yes.
And the zombie type creature ends up getting, and through some machination of the conflict, ends up on the bandsaw platform.
Yes.
And gets fed into the bandsaw.
And you don't get to see it.
And it's off screen.
Yep. This film is so low budget.
Well, hold on.
They couldn't afford it.
Right. My point is, the minute that happens off screen, it occurs to you, I'm screwed.
What you're in for. Sure.
I just rented a film expecting, and again, the description of the film, more fun than a wood chipper, or more gruesome than being fed into a wood chipper, and the first gruesome scene that happens is completely off screen, and I'm thinking,
it's a total letdown.
I'm not going to see any gore in this entire movie.
Yeah, and there really isn't any gore in this film. I mean, you do see some blood here and there. You see some blood
squib
spray
shots, maybe.
But the problem with things like blood spray, that's just some dude with a spray gun and a fan, and it just shoots up into the actor's face. It's the oldest trick in the book. It's not good. Although, I will say this. After watching Birdemic, this film ain't that bad compared to Birdemic. It's still a bad movie.
Dude,
don't get me wrong. It's a bad film.
That's like saying, getting kicked in the nuts repeatedly over a half-hour period, that's not as bad as castration. That's what do you? That's like comparing.
No.
I'm not going to say comparing apples and oranges.
What? After Birdemic, after playing the home game with Birdemic, just the sound quality alone, in this film, is Oscar worthy compared to Birdemic.
I will give you that the makers of Severed, what's the subtitle?
Forest of the Dead.
I will give you that the filmmakers of Severed, Forest of the Dead are competent and know their craft to the extent that they can make a passable product to feed into the marketplace. I will give you that.
Yes.
But don't let the extremely poor quality of Birdemic blind you to the inane boredom that results from sitting through an entire showing of Severed.
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying that it's not as bad as Birdemic. I'm saying it's a bad film.
That's like saying dying is not as bad as a toothache. No, reverse that. It's like saying a toothache is not as bad as dying. You don't.
Right. Your analogies are hurting me.
It's impossible.
My head hurts.
It is unfair to use Birdemic.
It's just because we watched it last week.
But it's unfair to use.
If I saw Birdemic 5 years ago and then I saw this now, or I should say, if I saw this now, or 5 years ago and I saw Birdemic now, I would feel the same way. But because we saw it so close together, I'm just doing a healthy comparison. That's all.
I just feel it is unfair to use Birdemic as a ruler to measure the quality of any film.
Really?
Yes, because
I would use that exactly. I would say, here, look at this movie, Birdemic. Don't do this.
Right, but then saying, oh, it's not bad because it's not as bad as, it's unfair.
When you make your movie,
my movie.
No, I'm just speaking figuratively.
Oh, sorry.
When you make your movie, see this movie Birdemic that I gave you, make sure it doesn't look like that.
Oh, sure.
That should be handed to every filmmaker. This movie Birdemic, if you make anything anywhere near what this film has done, kill yourself.
Kill yourself.
Kill yourself. Did you notice that they had an Asian actress in the film?
Why, sir?
Strictly for the Japanese market?
Sir, I really did.
That was strictly to be pushed in, and I haven't looked at any alternate posters or anything like that, but strictly for the Japanese market.
Mm-hmm. That appeals to the American art. That appeals to the American market as well. I keep dropping my camera.
Yes, it does. So, what then occurs is they're all just on the run. They get in a car, in a truck. They drive up to the bridge, which essentially will take them outside of this zombie zone or infection zone, and it's already been barricaded by the company that owns the area.
Those bastards.
What kills me about that scene, it's got all barbed wiring on it and everything, is there's, I think, 6 or 7 of them at that point, because not everyone had died yet.
Not everyone, no.
Why? And yes, it could be illogical. It might not have worked well on film, but I still think if I was in that situation, I would have at least tried to fucking move that barricade. You never know until you fucking try. And the fact that they didn't even, they drove up to it and said, oh, well, let's turn around. Are you kidding me? That right there separates. And the fact that they didn't just hop over it and they actually said, oh, we're going to walk 200 miles. Yeah, you're going to walk fucking 200 miles.
I would walk 200 miles. And was that how the song goes?
No, it was 500.
500? Okay, that close then. Never mind.
Not for anything, but anyone with just a little bit of survivalist knowledge.
That does not include me.
Well, there was the one black guy, Mac, the one guy, what was his name? Tucker? No, Mills. The two of them, since they've been doing that job for so long, I can guarantee you if they had just hopped over, because no zombies are getting past that point.
Right.
They could have just camped out and walked the 200 miles over probably 3-4 days, caught a few fish, lit a couple of fires. They would have been fine.
Sounds like a regular Brokeback Mountain eating to me.
But not for nothing. Yeah. Climb over that fucking thing. Attempt to move it. But you know what? The movie would have been 15 minutes long.
And you know,
that's all that would have needed to be done, is to have climbed over the
15
barricade.
15 minutes would have been a fine time frame for the storyline. I can't argue against a 15-minute movie.
So they then proceed to drive back, where they end up meeting. They end up at like this little area where they spend the night and all that shit. But that is just so. The one guy, his name is Carter. He's the scientist.
Carter.
Tell me, I know you haven't seen it in a while, but tell me he doesn't look like Bill Nye, the science guy.
I was thinking the exact same thing, honestly.
Bill, holy shit. And he's a scientist, so it's just fucking
Eat
creepy.
that, Bill Nye.
Bill Nye. I would have rather seen Bill Nye in this movie.
He would have had more charisma.
Yeah. So they end up back at some base that they find on their way back.
Well, all your base.
And they just spend the night there. Some quick shit happens with some zombies. Nothing major.
No.
I think the Japanese girl gets killed.
Oh, yeah.
And then they make their way back in the other direction, because they said that there's another way out, but it's like 25 miles, where they meet up with some survivors that are going crazy.
Well, yeah, that happens.
Yeah. And they play a game where they put someone in a cage, they let some zombies in, and they got to shoot to kill as entertainment.
But wait, we're them and they're us.
Yeah.
You know you're really stretching when you're ripping off fucking Romero. When you're ripping off Romero for like moralistic ideas, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
So Carter decides to break out. Hilarity ensues. Lets all the infectious zombies in.
Yeah.
Kills everybody in the camp except for Carter, the girl, and her newfound boyfriend, because her old one turned into a zombie and she fucked this guy, I think, the next day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and the only thing left is the ending.
Oh, can we talk about the ending of it?
Sure.
What are your feelings on the ending, sir?
Well, what happens is Carter he's a pussy, plain and simple. He escapes. All these zombies are starting to crowd him. Okay? They're all starting to crowd him. And this the new love interest says, I gotta go help him. And she says, no, you can't. You'll get killed. I can't do this by myself. He goes, no, I gotta help this guy. And she says, no, it's all right. Stay with me. Yeah. So he goes to help him,
and the guy is helping is the Weasley fuck.
Yeah, and they both become lunch.
Right.
So now she's all by herself, crying into a tree, as they fade out of that shot there to the father sitting in his chair, drinking, which is probably very expensive whiskey, looking at a picture of his son.
Cudgeon.
What's that?
Cudgeon whiskey. It's a lost. That's a lost reference. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Looks at a picture of his son, gets up, starts walking towards the other end of the hallway from the room, and then crying, fades to black, credits roll. Nothing is resolved.
Now, sir.
She's the only survivor, which she'll probably end up dead at some point.
So she's not the only survivor.
Well, at that point, she's still alive.
But she's not a survivor. We're pretty sure she's dead, right?
She's gonna be dead.
Right.
Probably, yes.
So, what's the metaphor for the ending?
I don't know. Save your company.
Trick question.
Doesn't matter.
Trick question. There's not one.
Okay. There isn't
this
one.
Is another typical zombie film attempt at a more morality ending, where he sent his only son in there. Jesus Christ, anybody? So we're setting up the rich people as God. He sent his only son in to help. He didn't work, so he died for our sins. We're setting up rich people as the fucking God of the economy, who works in mysterious ways, mind you. He's the cause of the plight because he's the one that obviously okayed all the scientific research. So he's caused the problem as well as the solution, and he has caused the death of his son through his own arrogance and ignorance, and he's sad about walking away from it. How does that impart any kind of message whatsoever? It doesn't.
It is just I don't know what anyone was supposed to take away from the ending. It's like, oh my God, he sent his only son in. Oh, he's dead.
You know what?
He feels so bad about it.
You know what I took away from that ending?
What
the fuck? That's the closest I came to any kind of revelation. What the fuck?
It's a very simple plot. It's very predictable.
Very.
Extremely predictable.
To a point, because who would predict that they would choose such a stupid fucking ending?
Yeah, that is true. Well, what was interesting is with Carter, he gets huddled around a bunch of zombies earlier in the film, and you'd swear he was a goner. Right. And then he comes back, and in the very next scene, he's holding an axe, talking to Mac, just walking around like he's about to kill Mac with this axe, almost like he has this disease, but like in a controlled sense. And Mac's like, "What the hell are you doing walking around with that axe? If you're not going to do anything, you're part of the problem. Get the hell out of the room." And he's like, "Oh, I just have it for protection." And then that's the last of it. It's like they try, even though my infant son is smarter and would know that what they were trying to go for was to try and do like a twist saying, is he going to go crazy? Is he not going to go crazy? Is he going to kill everyone? Blah, 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 and all that shit. So they attempt to do these little twists and turns, and they're completely predictable, and you just see it coming from a mile away. You just do.
I agree totally.
So, all right. So that's our review of Severed. Hope you enjoyed that.
Oh, I enjoyed it much more than the film itself. I will say that much.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we kept it short.
Well, yes, we did.
And the biggest reason why we kept it short is because it's such a simple and easy plot.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not happy with my choice of a challenge to you.
That's okay.
Because what I originally wanted to give you, which had much more material towards it, was a severed arm. But that fell through.
And I have the trailer for it, but I'm not going to play it because it's only a minute and I think 12 seconds. And 40 seconds of this trailer is nothing but music and
waste. Yeah.
Yeah.